Hi folks, how are you? My name is Enrique Palafox and I'm here with Dacre Stoker. Dacre, how are you?
Enrique, I'm great. We're doing this. The book is getting very interesting. Matter of fact, I mean, let's be honest, I've read this a number of times, but every time I open up this book and start looking at it, especially in preparation for our video call, it's kind of like peeling back an onion. There's more cool things that you find, all these little details that Bram Stoker put in, and we've got some good ones to talk to you about today.
I know what you're saying because every time we read the novel, we find little details hidden here and there, and that is amazing of this book.
And especially since we've been able to find the books in the London Library that Bram did his research on, that's giving me insight now on where he got some of this information, and some of it we're going to talk about specifically in this section today. So shall we get started?
Yeah, let me translate to the Spanish people and we can start right over. Perfect. Hola, ¿qué tal? Bienvenidos a Drácula's Place. Mi nombre es Enrique Palafox. Estoy con Dacre Stoker en South Carolina, en Estados Unidos. Recuerden, estamos analizando la novela y ahorita es bien interesante lo que dice Dacre, es que cada vez que la leemos, esto es como una cebolla que tiene demasiadas capas. Entonces, por mucho que ya la hayamos leído varias veces, bueno, pues en esta ocasión vamos encontrando nuevas cosas. Entonces, estamos en la quinta semana y vamos a empezar de inmediato. Dacre.
Okay, so we start with the action with Jonathan Harker. He's still in the castle, May 28th.
Yeah.
Harker says there is a chance of escape, or at any rate of being able to send word home. Now, to me, that's optimistic. Just before this section, he looked that he was resigned to die. He knew when the Count was going to basically end his life. But this is nice optimism at this point.
Yeah, he was giving up in the last entrance, but now he has some hope.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead and translate that part.
Es interesante, recordemos que estábamos con Jonathan en el castillo, él ya prácticamente había cedido a su destino, ya no quería seguir luchando, él prácticamente sabía que iba a morir, pero en esta semana, justo el día de ayer, el día 28, nos enteramos que, bueno, hay una llama de esperanza ahí y, bueno, resurge la esperanza en Jonathan. Okay.
Now here's the text. And this gets interesting because it mentions a number of different types of people that Bram Stoker interjects into the story. And it's very authentic. A band of Sezgani have come to the castle and are encamped in the courtyard. These are gypsies. I have notes of them in my book. They are peculiar to this part of the world, though allied to the ordinary gypsies all the world over.
Ok, aquí estamos en el pasaje de la novela donde Jonathan se da cuenta que hay unos gitanos, se llaman sangasis, pero bueno, son estos gitanos que están entrando al castillo y él los escucha y dice, aquí hay una oportunidad. Ok.
There are thousands of them in Hungary and Transylvania who were almost all outside the law. They attach themselves as a rule to some great noble or boyar and call themselves by his name. They are fearless and without religion, save superstition. And they talk only their own varieties of the Romani tongue.
Aquí Bram hace el lujo de la investigación que hizo sobre todo de las personas locales y habla descriptivamente de los gitanos. Entonces habla de sus costumbres, habla de cómo estaban ligados a un boyardo o a un agente de la realeza, ¿no? Y que no tienen una religión. Entonces un poquito habla de estas personas que son locales y describe muy bien a los gitanos. Okay.
So it's interesting. We all know Bram Stoker didn't go to this part of the world. But we now know he went to the London Library and did some very extensive research. And I have now been there and looked at these books. He's found many detailed accounts of not just the gypsies and the Sezgani, but also the Skesleys, the Magars, the Saxons, the Wallachs. And luckily for Bram Stoker, there were these books in there by British travelers who had traveled to this part of the world and mentioned what these people are like, the intense and yet massive cross-section of people that you see in this country. It's very unique to have so many different types of people there. And you translate that and I'll tell the books that these came out of.
Okay. Recordemos que Bram nunca tuvo la oportunidad de viajar a Transilvania como tal, pero lo que tuvo fue un acceso a las librerías más importantes de su época, sobre todo la de Londres, donde él tuvo acceso a varios libros, donde esos libros pudo ver a través de viajeros que iban describiendo las zonas, ¿no? Y a las personas. Él tuvo mucho acceso a estos libros y bueno, fue tomando las notas para ir generando este cúmulo. Ahorita Dacre nos va a contar acerca de esos libros.
Okay. So the books are Transylvania, Its Products and Its People by Charles Bonner.
Transilvania, sus productos y sus personas de Charles, which is the number, the name
Charles,
of
Charles Bonner.
De Charles Bonner, de los primeros libros que consultó Bram. Okay.
Romania, Its Past and Present by James Samuelson.
El pasado y presente de Rumania, de James
Samuelson.
Samuelson, okay.
And then Round About the Carpathians by Andrew Cross.
De Andrew Cross, alrededor de los Cárpatos. Mm-hmm.
And On the Track of the Crescent by Major Johnson.
De Major Johnson, en el camino del riachuelo, básicamente, que es lo que el gran río que después James Hart took is the same river that James Hart wrote about the killing of the princess of. Could be the
I'm not. I don't know exactly what book James Hart got that out of, but
okay.
That mythology of the count's wife committing suicide into the Argus River has been in Transylvania folklore for a long time.
Okay.
But the interesting. Go ahead, say that.
No. My question was about the Emily Gerard book.
Ah, yes. Now, Emily Gerard book is also one of the most important ones because it's got all the superstitions. Mm-hmm. It doesn't necessarily talk about the people and what they look like and the different nationalities and the different ethnography, but that's all the superstitions. There was 28 books in the library, and all of them supplied something to Bram. And these books I just mentioned essentially talked all about the Wallachs and the Saxons and the Sasganis. That's how we got the ethnology of the people there.
Esta parte es interesante lo que me está corrigiendo Dacre, porque me dice que el libro de Emily Gerard, del cual se habla mucho, de que Bram retomó cosas, no habla particularmente de la etnografía de las personas, no habla de las tribus o de los locales, sino más bien habla de las cuestiones de superstición. Pero hay 28 libros de los cuales Bram tuvo acceso en las bibliotecas.
And why is this important? Well, you've got to remember in history, at the end of the 1800s, the Victorian era, and the people living in London, they were primarily used to sending people out around the world. So that, as they say, the British Empire extended all over the world. Mm-hmm. There weren't that many people coming from the British Empire to London. Mm-hmm. And that's what started to happen. And that awareness started to scare people. They weren't these British weren't quite sure if they wanted these people to come into their backyards, let alone Count Dracula, and that's who he represents, this melting pot of different nationalities from his country to come into and threaten those people living in a more pure London, England.
Cuando Bram escribe esto, recordemos que el Imperio Británico se había extendido por todo el mundo, entonces tenía ramas en todos lados, y eso no nada más quería decir que británicos salían al mundo, sino que también del mundo regresaban a Inglaterra. Entonces había un intercambio entre pueblos. Entonces eso les empezaba a dar mucho miedo, sobre todo a las personas de la época victoriana, porque decían, oye, estas personas no son como nosotros, entonces generaban un poco de resistencia. Okay.
So the next section of the story, which is interesting, is now, as we see, Jonathan puts his brain to work. Mm-hmm. He's got to figure out how to make this escape. And he also has to make sure he can have contact with Mina and Peter Hawkins. Remember, the Count asked him to write some letters, kind of phony letters, fake news, okay? But now he's trying to write some letters himself to give to one of the gypsies to secretly post it. And this is his sort of advanced strategy. But what Harker does, which is very interesting, is he uses shorthand, which luckily Mina understands shorthand, meaning she's an advanced woman, she's an educated woman, and she's able to read his code, which is, saying a lot for Mina. And it's a way to outsmart the Count. So the chess match that started near the last section, the chess match continues right here with the letters in shorthand.
Okay. Aquí lo que está pasando, que es muy interesante lo que me está contando Dacre, es que aquí ya está el juego de ajedrez a pleno. Jonathan echa a andar su cerebro estratégico para ver cómo le da la vuelta a los planes del conde. Recordemos que el conde le pidió escribir tres cartas que no son reales, donde, como dice Dacre, es fake news, también aquí en México entendemos el término, no son reales, ¿no? Se publican, pero no son reales porque el contenido no es real. Entonces, con la llegada de los gitanos, Jonathan ve otra salida a su situación y trata de comunicarse de manera personal, tanto con Mina como con su ex jefe, pero aquí hay un detalle bien interesante. Él sabe que Mina sabe shorthand, o lo que es en español taquigrafía. Entonces, la taquigrafía es un código que tiene Mina, porque Mina, ahorita vamos a entrar a ello. Mina es un personaje muy interesante porque es un personaje muy adelantado a su época, porque es una mujer educada que tiene estos códigos para poderse comunicar con Jonathan y darle la vuelta al conde y que no se entere de lo que está pasando. Okay.
All right, so now I'm going to read a part from the text and we'll analyze this next part. Yeah. Jonathan Harker says, "To her I have explained my situation, but without the horrors which I may only surmise. It would shock and frighten her to death were I to expose my heart to her."
Y esta parte es interesante porque aquí Bram, en Jonathan, está escribiendo un poco el punto de vista de Jonathan con respecto a su mujer Mina, ¿no? Y trata de protegerla, de cuidarla, para omitir los detalles que le pudieran causar un poco de impresión. Okay.
So this is incredibly ironic, because at this stage of the story, Jonathan, okay, he's got scared because he realizes the Count is supernatural, he's a threat, and the three women in white have come and sort of seduced him. But it's nothing like the horror that Mina deals with later when she actually has a proper blood exchange with the Count, and she is vamped and, on the way to turning into a vampire. And the last third of the story, she becomes the hero, because even though she is threatened to be turned into a vampire or killed by her friends, because she says, "Kill me if I'm starting to turn," that's nothing compared to what Harker goes through. So it's an interesting statement that Jonathan wants to protect his delicate, fragile woman, but we know much differently. She's not so fragile after all. She turns out to be the big strong one in this story.
Aquí hay una ironía, como dice Dacre, muy interesante, porque Jonathan está tratando de proteger a su mujer, ¿no? Pensando en ella como, hay una mujer muy débil, y la ironía es que durante el relato, como ya la hemos leído en varias ocasiones, sabemos que Mina se levanta y se convierte en el verdadero protagonista, ¿no? Inclusive poniendo su vida en riesgo, y los horrores que va a enfrentar más adelante no tienen absolutamente nada que ver con lo que él quería comunicar. Entonces, básicamente, él está hablando. Would you think, Dacre, that maybe Jonathan think of less of her because she was a woman in the Victorian era?
Well, yes, there's no question. I'm glad you picked that up, because this is one of the statements that Bram Stoker is making. He said, look, there are too many sort of negative ways of looking at women, and we've got to change that. There are now modern women who are getting educated, who have a good head on their shoulders. They're perfectly capable of doing things like typewriting and having good thoughts. And this is Mina, and this comes from Bram's mother, Charlotte Stoker, who is very much a modern woman, and also Bram's two sisters, who were again modern women. So it's a good statement. And we can see there is a bit of a feminist statement here, which is a very positive feminist statement. As the story goes on, Mina proves that she really is worthy of being a strong and capable woman.
Let me think out loud. Maybe she will be one of our first women, hero women in popular culture. Maybe I'm thinking in Sigourney Weaver in Aliens.
Yeah,
she was
that's a good
first, one. She was one of the first in movies, but maybe Mina was the first one in this pop cultural thing that we are living in.
Well, yeah, in a way, maybe, I don't know if Joss Whedon fashioned Buffy the Vampire Slayer after Mina, but certainly she has Buffy has those same capabilities. She's the kick-ass woman, and at the same time, if you've watched the movie League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Mina is a strong, powerful woman. Then you've got Wonder Woman and all these other things. So yeah, maybe she's the original. I hadn't thought of it that way.
Yeah, me neither. Just hearing from you. Okay, aquí lo que pasa es interesante porque estamos platicando de que quizá Jonathan pensaba menos de su mujer por la época victoriana. Un poquito en esta parte, no queremos entrar al tema del feminismo, pero bueno, definitivamente hay un sosiego, ¿no? Hacia a que la mujer pues no está a la altura. Sin embargo, Bram, aquí lo que está escribiendo es uno de los personajes feministas más importantes, yo creo, y justo lo que estamos platicando Dacre y yo, es que quizá no haya otro personaje anterior a Mina que tenga este poder de independencia, de lucha, y sobre todo esta parte que ahorita nos parece tan importante, que es la autonomía de la mujer, y sobre todo este personaje tan poderoso, ¿no? a nivel literario. Okay.
So this section ends with Jonathan Harker sending these two letters out the window to the gypsy along with a piece of gold. And that's his hope are now in the hands of the gypsy. This person from far away. It's his hope to get the letter sent off. So it's like the chess match, and he's moved the queen, the king in just the right place. So I'm not going to spoil anything for anybody if you haven't read on, but we end that way. This chess match keeps going on and on for a little bit longer, but Harker has made his next move.
Okay. Aquí, no, ya para no entrar en mayores en detalles, pero bueno, entra el juego de ajedrez del que tanto ha hablado Dacre, ¿no? Aquí Jonathan está haciendo una movida muy interesante dentro de la partida, dándole las cartas que él escribió en taquigrafía, ¿no? Con una moneda de oro a los gitanos, poniendo su esperanza en que los gitanos la lleven a entregar. Entonces, ahí está un poquito el juego. No vamos a spoilear más porque, ojo, la entrada fue del día 28, o sea, hace ayer, ¿no? Y la siguiente es mañana o pasado. Okay.
So, at this point, I think it would be fun for you and me to do a little bit of a infomercial about some of the cool items that are now picking up great momentum in the Dracula store. We've had a lot of people since World Dracula Day come to our store, but this is a neat design that Enrique has created. I love it. I love these vintage Dracula covers, and this is obviously a coffee mug, which I am drinking from with a good top on it, non-spill top.
You never drink coffee. You should say that as
I never drink wine. Never drink coffee. And this is a pair of socks.
Okay.
The same pattern. And for the women who always love scarves, this is very cool because it's a little bit translucent, but the coloring is really, really good.
What I like is that the coloring is very, very neat.
Yeah, It's very good. And then one more I have here. There's plenty of patterns, but I only wanted to do a short one today.
Yeah.
Show the computer sleeve with this coloration on it as well.
I love it. Yeah.
And then one of the other patterns, I say we got a few. Yeah. This is what we call Jonathan Harker's journey. And if you look very closely, you actually see this is postcards from the location that Jonathan went on as he's nearing Count Dracula's castle, the rosary that's given to him, the tickets. And then also something that's cool is out of Dracula's guest This is a reproduction of the letter that Jonathan Harker received through the maitre d' at the Four Seasons Hotel from none other than Count Dracula himself. So please go and visit our Dracula store. There's some really cool things in it, but most importantly, every week we've got more and more patterns and more things coming in it. So visit it once, visit it often, and get into the Dracula spirit with us.
Dacre nos está contando, bueno, de la tienda de Drácula, de todos los ítems que hemos diseñado para ustedes en esta vibra de Drácula, celebrando la novela que tanto amamos, y precisamente nos enseñó varias cosas, están increíbles, precisamente aquí como las mascadas que hay para mujeres, que a pesar que son translúcidas, están llenas de color, o como la taza para café, estamos haciendo el chiste de Bela Lugosi, que nunca toma vino, o que es uno de nuestros patrones favoritos, que refleja todo el viaje de Jonathan, ¿no? Desde la cruz, los detalles, ¿no? Y ahí va todo, y un detalle de Drácula's Place por ahí, que ya es un guiño que Dacre está echando aquí en nuestra página, ¿no? Vinculando ya definitivamente de Dracula's Guest con el relato original de Drácula. Entonces, bueno, están bienvenidos, la tienda está abierta y cada semana estamos subiendo nuevos y diferentes diseños para ustedes, o sea que no dejen de visitar nuestra tienda.
Okay. See you next week, and good luck for Jonathan Harker. See how he does in his chess match.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Dacre. Gracias chicos, gracias por estarnos siguiendo. Hasta aquí el video de hoy. Nos vemos la siguiente semana. Veamos qué le sucede a Jonathan Harker. Pues a ver qué pasa. Entonces nos vemos la siguiente semana con el siguiente video. Muchas gracias. Hasta pronto.